Hey there, Goa fans. This is Mark DJ Solitaire here with episode 147 of Retro Goa Explorations, my weekly series in which I share in each episode one of my favorite tracks from the 1990s Goa trance psychedelic dance movement. So, here for episode 147, we are, as we have been for the last few episodes, looking at tracks that I first came across in the autumn of 98 through to the summer of 99. Had to see which direction I was thinking, and my math isn't so good. So, this is one that I actually remember, again, is on the tail end of that period, and I remember super clearly when this came into my ears. It was a fantastic experience, a little bit after Solips in Hungary in 99, the first Ozora, at which I heard So Deep, which was the track in episode 146, which Ollie played. After Solips, I did a little bit of wandering around in Europe and I ended up in Bordeaux spending some time with the Total Eclipse gang. And we had this wonderful day at the beach, as one does. And we were being driven. There were two cars, and one of them was driven by Cédric, known as Saidu or Manitou, a DJ and producer, who's also very good friends with Christoph, one half of Transwave, who at this point was running his own label, 3D Vision. And it was in this, on this excursion, on this amazing day that Cédric was blasting us with the most unbelievable tunes in the car. And this is when I heard the alternate mix of Transwaves, or technically Quids, what was it called? Code S9, which I still thought was 59 at the point. And I remember there's only one other track that I remember super clearly. And it was the first track that I heard of by this project, and it completely knocked me sideways. And this was by the Greek project that I had never heard of, Wizzy Noise. And it was a track that would be coming out on 3D Vision called This Is the End. And I just remembered, the name Wizzy Noise when he told me, and I remembered the title, This Is the End, because I thought, like, this is the end of it for me. This is just unbelievable. Because this was a really, starting to get into some of the where this music was evolving. There's so many different styles happening, right? And where it had come from and going in lots of different directions. And this had that really cyber sleek, slightly techy, high-paced element, and flavor to it, while also having some very interesting harmonic stuff. But I just remember, driving through the countryside, listening to this, really cutting edge, certainly at the time, and I think still amazing, this cutting edge music, as we're just like sort of booming down the road. If you've ever driven in France, you know what that can be like. But with this music, it was astounding. So Wizzy Noise, went on to produce quite a lot, and they became quite well known. And as far as I know, this was their first single. So two members to the project. I need to look, and I probably won't pronounce well because it's all Greek to me. Mickey Gekas, Michalis, if we're speaking Greek, known as Mickey Noise, and his the other half in this project, Dimitris Pantelides, known as Dimitris Noise, and more largely known as Uriel. He sadly passed away. We're just approaching the 3-year anniversary of his death on March 1st, 2023. Mickey is still active. Actually, the Dat Universe label that I'm with just released a collaborative track that he produced with Blue Planet Corporation on vinyl just last year. So, he's still at work. And but this is the first track that I heard by them, and again, it just completely knocked my socks off. Now, a version of this track made it onto a CD compilation, a 3D Vision one. It is shorter, and when I scanned through it, I was just like, this is a completely different track. I mean, it's really like a very different mix. The one that's on vinyl seems to be harder to come by, and I actually had to do quite a lot of digging to find somebody who had a copy of it. So this is not circulated quite as much. And while, of course, I couldn't remember the details exactly of the track, from that I heard in a car 27 years ago or whatever, I don't want to do the math, I remember the impression, and this is it. This is the end. It's really, this is really something. So I think with all of that, we should just give it a listen, go through what's in this beautiful track together, and then I'll let you listen to it without my commentary. So here we go. By Wizzy Noise, This Is the End. Love that atmospheric noise. We get some whoosh, 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 sort of computerized stuff. Sounds a bit like UX, right? Master of the Universe kind of inspiration here, perhaps. This broody bass line. Love the rhythm of it. Again, with those mysterious sounds. Really cool hi-hats. Notice the rhythm with that, as well as the refinement of the sound, and that. I remember that making an impression. And that beautiful kick comes in. Notice the little rhythmic. There's a little rhythmic play with it over there in the first round, and then that cool pause. Really, it's like going through this tunnel as you're listening to this. So very cyber, great for driving through a city at night more than nature in the daytime, but still. So again, it's very atmospheric, right? So quite abstract, like a lot of shapes, no tune per se, but it's implied by the figurations and all of the sounds. Brilliant. That extra rhythmic push there. So again, just sleek noises that those screeches again bring out a lot of some of that angst that's part of the early flavoring of Goa as well. Quite a few of those little drum rolls and a little break. So here we get some more harmonic, mysterious, broody, just kind of, it's like, these notes create this sonic tunnel that you're traveling through. So not a tune per se, but still some harmonic play. Oh, that tweak and then little key change on another one right away. Echoes there. Notice again a lot of the textures, the layering is really great, right? How loud things are, how much in the background and how much in the foreground. Again, those sort of UX style noises. cool drive. That mantra-like effect through the repetition. So we can notice quite a few more pauses in this track than I think was the norm, right? Which would start becoming more of the norm as it became more psychedelic trance. Really brilliant engineering. Now notice this voice starting to creep in here. This little granular textured element. It's getting louder still. Again, just, these harmonic parameters that are being set by these note relationships. There's an extra granular little bit in there. This adds a lot of texture and a little rough edge to it. Now we've got this sort of delta-like voice as well, right? Keep in mind this is, just a couple of years after As a Child. And another Delta track that was premiered this year, which we'll be talking about. Brilliant, beautiful note progression with that voice. And it's coming quite late in the track, right? So it's some new information. That very quick pitch change and then back to it. And then that repetition, so you just completely lose your place. Chorus again. And the key here is, always all of the voices work well with each other, so it leaves them a lot of freedom for the storytelling. Drops out. I've just completely lost count in this whole process here. And that is the end of This Is the End. Whew. So a different kind of music, right, than a lot of what was being made before. And this is really a big direction that our scene would take. Now, 𝘰𝘰, for example, he really rode the wave with, where things were going. And one of the things he told me was that, what he considered off with the retro scene was that back in the day in 94, you played tracks from 94. In 95, you played tracks from 95. In 96, you played tracks from 96. So it was really like, what was current and what was new and what was evolving. And there's a set that was recorded of Ollie in San Francisco, and I think it was 2001. And it's very much like this kind of cyber techie stuff, totally different from what he was playing before. And it's fantastic. I mean, it's really sleek and cyber, and you can feel his, through the recording still, you can feel his intensity and his energy. So this is one of the branches. This would become, I think, that 3D vision sound, and that other producers, on other labels, of course, would also feature. It became an important part of the story. The thing for me is that, I want all of the branches of the tree. I want that full spectrum. And then how do we make everything not just about one sound? And how do you work in all of these different flavors in a set? I think that's what I'd love to hear more DJs do. And of course, you can't do that if they give you hour-long sets or even two. Can to some degree, but just not enough. So, but this, that impression it made, this was, it was 1999, we were heading into 2000. It really felt like, this, it was an important time historically, and it felt like it. And our scene was starting to go in directions. I remember some stuff that was being released in 99, and of course, even before, that I just hated, and stuff coming on major labels. And I was like, this better not be where we're headed. It was pretty bad. And I won't name names, but there's some stuff that I just heard, and it just unlistenable for me. This is not. This is, we know where some of where this sound went. This is fantastic. It's sleek. It's got, that tunnel vision, cyber sound, but it's also got some really cool, chord progressions and harmonic parameters. And again, that beautiful, almost delta-ish chorus that I think is really important. So it was wonderful, wonderful piece. So, and hard to come by. I'm not sure again if it ever made it onto CD in this version. It doesn't appear so. And that's a real shame because it's a doozy. All right, so the final note before I wrap up is that this one actually is at 147 BPM. And we're here on episode 147. It's actually 146.75 if my tractor read it correctly. Things were not always 100% back in the day. I made a boo-boo last week with So Deep. It actually wasn't at 146. It was a couple of beats slower. So here we have finally aligned at long last our episode number and BPM. And on that note, I will sign off and leave you with the entire track without commentary. I am Mark DJ Solitaire, wrapping up episode 147 of Retro Goa Explorations and leaving you now with Wizzy Noise's This Is the End.